I am always conflicted by ritual. Habits can be both helpful and harmful. You can always learn from another closer look, from repetition. But having tunnel vision can exclude a lot from your life. Details matter, but so does context. I worry a ton about the audacity supported by superficial knowledge. I'm totally psyched on new ideas and new experiences, but I want to remember to appreciate that which I have right in front of me. Hey, what's up? It's been kind of a while. I've been working on a podcast. I've been working on some essays, but I thought I'd check in and see how things are doing. And also, I have all this really great footage from a couple of runs that I did, so I can't help but share. One thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately was some of the models that I was working on in industry. Specifically, they were the class of models called multi-armed bandit models. These are things where you're trying to come up with an algorithm that most efficiently chooses between exploring new options and exploiting known really good options. This kind of conflict between knowns and unknowns tends to show up a lot in life. For example, right now, winter is fast approaching and my trail running season is coming to an end. So each day I get up, I have to ask myself, do I want to hammer on trails that I know really, really well? Or do I want to continue to explore new areas, explore new trails, connect different areas together with trails at the risk of having like a really terrible run, or maybe getting lost, or just otherwise wasting a day? You know, this conflict also shows up in my other work too. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of expository writing right now, trying to relate principles of physics to, to different audiences, to students and to a general audience and stuff. And one thing that I've learned is that introducing a new concept or a new idea creates kind of like a mental tax or cost to the listener or to the viewer, whereas connecting two ideas is a much easier thing to get across. It's kind of like trying to find the best way to build a graph, like a knowledge graph, if you will, where the points on the graph are different ideas. And so trying to find the order, the best order between adding new ideas and connecting different ideas together is really difficult, especially if you want to keep people from being bored out of their minds or from being completely overwhelmed. But it's super fun and super interesting, and I think it's fun to work on. The one thing I will say though, at least for me, is the rational work involved in connecting two new ideas together is extremely rewarding. Incidentally, this is all finite game theory, and for what we're talking about now, the distinction between finite games and infinite games is crucial. This is a really, really interesting subject, and I'd love to get into it more, but I'll drop some references and comments in the show notes, and hopefully we can get back to it. Right, so winter is coming. I need to go for a run. So using Elbow Coulee as kind of like an organizing point, I wanted to connect the trails from Dead Horse Lake all the way out to Sun Mountain by way of Aspen Lake, which is like a little man-made tarn somewhere in between. It is never easy. Despite setting out on a brilliant sunny day, my journey through the hills between Twisp and Winthrop ended up with a persistent, deafening wind. It wasn't cold so much as it was just exposed. Despite these conditions, it was pretty fun to see how high up on the ridge that trail goes. Except for a few fallen trees, coming down the ridge to Aspen Lake, it was pretty clear. Though lots of switchbacks down to Elbow Coulee. From there, old Forest Service roads and game trails can easily take you back to Meadowlark, which is what James and I basically did in reverse shortly thereafter. Whoa. Good work.
Yeah.
This is a mental note to buy some Ace bandages. Ooh, a rock. You see that? See that? Oh, I might put this away before I get killed. It was still hunting season, but we saw neither hunter nor deer, which is just as well. We weren't being too obnoxious, but we were having a lot of fun and hooting and hollering while running down hills. Big boulder. I also fell down a lot. And you know, it's funny, unless you're kind of running around rocks or it's really hard to explain just how the camera fails to capture just the steepness of the terrain. It was pretty steep. He wants me to go down that. Damn it, James! If you really want to get to know a place well, you have to start making your navigation decisions based on the terrain that you see in front of you. Not just the trail right on the ground, but where the mountains are, where the hills are, the trees that you see, the rivers and other features. It really starts to engage Kahneman's system 2 thinking, where you start building a rational model of the environment around you. The pursuit of old logging roads and game trails and maybe historical trails and just high points, random high points. Of course, it's really helpful to have friends like James, who has probably some of the deepest working knowledge of the terrain around here and is willing to share it openly out on a run. Filming a lot of downhill today.